What's up? Unrested. That's me. I'm back again with a little bit of a story and a little bit of advice about networking in Japan. Networking in Japan. It can be good for if you want to be a J-vlogger here like me and many other people who do it, or if you want a career outside of teaching English, you may also want to build a network because that can lead to a lot of great career opportunities. No doubt in that. And sometimes when people come here and make videos very quickly, or some people don't research enough and make a JVlog video, their information can be a little bit off. Maybe they're not as well researched as they should be. There's even videos of I myself, when I very first started, that weren't researched well enough, and I was wrong. I had to correct myself later. We all make mistakes, no problem with that. And some people may find those videos and be furious. Oh, they know much more, they know better. And they might attack those videos, and unfortunately you can burn your bridges when you do that. So my suggestion is that you don't do that. You go ahead, watch the video, maybe you make some constructive criticism, which is nothing wrong with that. I've messed up dates before, which I'm horrible with because I'm horrible at remembering numbers, and people have corrected me. I've gone back and changed it later. That's fine, but to all outright attack, such as in the past some people would make a video response in which attacking something, but that can burn your bridges. I would highly suggest you don't do something like that. And I would also suggest you don't do something like that in business as well. When you come out here and want to start some sort of business venture or possibly get into a different career outside of English teaching, you don't want to burn your bridges. And even within English teaching, you don't want to screw over a lot of the companies you work for, because that can also burn your bridges. And speaking more of networking, I've got a little bit of a story for you, and I'm going to have to break it down really simple so that you see an example of how somebody burned their bridges. Now, recently I had a friend who wanted to start a company in Japan, and he started many before, and this new one was going to be tours in Japan. I talked about it in an old video. You can go check an old J-vlog and see where I was talking about a tour in Japan. And by tour I mean they come over here, somebody comes over here with a group of friends, or a group of friends together come over here and pay for a tour around Japan, specifically the Osaka area and the Tokyo area as well, because let's be honest, those are the most toured areas. And he asked me to promote it on my channel. I had no problem with this because I'm very excited for any friend starting a business venture, as long as it's a legal one, and I will help them promote it if it will help them and if it will be something that I can also be passionate about myself and feel has a legit backing. And so I did that. And then recently, you may know that I started a GoFundMe, and I asked for, if I believe correctly, I asked for $900, and amazingly, because of you awesome people, I got $1,300 to start up Unrested Art Studios. And what it gave me the ability to do was rent a building in which I could have an executive office. An executive office is an office in which you meet up with clients. You want to have a professional atmosphere. You obviously don't want them coming to your house. My studio is actually at my house. Unrested Art Studios is an executive office outside of my house that allows me to have a professional setting and doesn't let people come into my house because it's kind of creepy. Let's be honest. I don't want my clients showing up at my door. And that was great. That was so awesome you guys did that. And also, the best part about that is it made an overflow of artwork. I actually had too much, more than I could handle. And what that let me do was give that extra artwork to 2 other Gaijin artists. My goal of GoFundMe was, number 1, to rent the place in which I would start my art studios, and that's what it did. It allowed me to rent the professional place and allow me to get the art studio jobs that I wanted, that I do here at my house with my studio. In a future video, I'll show you what the whole studio looks like. It's fun. It also allowed me to give that runoff extra jobs to Gaijin who are already living here in Japan with visas. Now, that same friend who had asked to give me a shout out for his tour company, suddenly, when I started that GoFundMe, attacked me ferociously with messages saying, you can't give people visas to come to Japan, you can't give them a business visa, you can't give them a job visa. And I was confused because nowhere in my video, if you go and check it now, it's still online, do I say I'm going to sponsor anybody's visa. Because if anybody tells you that they can sponsor your visa here in Japan and they are a Gaijin with not 90% Japanese workforce at their business, then they are lying. because you need at least 90% Japanese workforce. Then you can apply for government visas that allow you to have 10% Gaijin workforce, and you can get visas for them. I don't have that big of a company. You would need a much larger company. And I talk about this in my video earlier too. I say I would need to become much, much larger if I were to ever support anybody in that manner. And so I say, I can't get you a visa. I'm sorry. If anybody thought that from that video, you maybe didn't listen closely enough or decided to put words in my mouth. But at no point do I say, I can get you a visa. And if someone does give you some kind of rigmarole where they say, if you do a GoFundMe, I'll get you a visa, they're lying to you. Don't fund that GoFundMe. Don't help it. They're lying. I would say almost 100% of the time, if someone just makes a video where they say, I'm going to get you a visa to Japan, there's probably something a little bit sketchy about it. I'd really check into it, because to be quite honest, as a Gaijin, for me to get visas for other people, it's pretty hard. Unless I have a very, very established company, or a company with 90% Japanese workforce, and I mean a lot of Japanese people, because it's got to balance out equally with 10% Gaijin staff, or I have a business that has something that Japanese people cannot do. And that's why English tends to get a lot of visas easily. A lot of people in Japan can't speak English. Not trying to be mean, it's just a fact of the matter. It's true. I mean, they're below Cambodia for how low their English is here, so it's pretty low. And so that's something that people can get visas for. I'm not starting an English company, so I cannot get visas for people. I don't plan to do that either. So once I started this, he attacked me for that right away, and was even trying to put messages on the GoFundMe, put messages on my Facebook and stuff like that. And so I had to block and delete this guy, and I also had to stop supporting his tour, because let's be honest, if your friend started a business and asked you to promote it, you did so, you started your own business, and they attacked it, what would you do? Would you say, hey, let me keep promoting your business? No, you would say, oh, okay, I see. You disagree with what my tactics are, so I'm going to have to say perhaps we have different business plans. Let's part ways and see that dichotomy go into forking paths, and that's what I've done here. It's unfortunate, and it's kind of made me, I've had to question the friendship, I had to question the acquaintance that was part of the business, and it made me totally cut ties with any kind of business that he would do in the future, and not promote him at all. And even worse, just recently I got promoted myself in Kansaizin. If you go to the Hyakumonogatari page here, in the Kansaizin, which is one of the #1 read Gaijin magazines here in Japan as far as Kansai is concerned, and it's one of the very few ones in English. I got my little sidebar right here that promotes my channel. I could promote his business as well. I could have promoted his business. I could have talked about his business. I could have gave him a shout out. I could have given him a link to his site. And he burned that bridge. He cut it off. He totally screwed himself on getting a shout out in one of the #1 read magazines here in English. And his tours are for people who are Gaijin coming to Japan. So who's going to read that? Gaijin who speak English. Probably not even a lot of Japanese speakers that are Gaijin are going to read this, because this is all in English. And that cuts off a huge bridge for him. And he kind of did that to himself. I don't really want to promote something from a person who would attack anything that I would start, or try to put words in my mouth in a video that I never said. It's kind of sketchy, to be honest. It made me really question a lot of stuff, so much so that I didn't include him in this Kansaizin. So, let that be a little lesson to you. If you want to network, maybe just think about it. Even if the other people around you are making a video that you don't like, don't attack the video, because maybe in the future you want to make a collab video with them. Maybe if they're doing a business you're not excited about, maybe somebody's starting an Akaiwa and you hate Akaiwas, don't attack their Akaiwa, promote it, help them, talk to them about it, see what you can do to get the word out, maybe hand out a few flyers, have some laying around your house. Don't burn any bridges that you can possibly build here in Japan. Networking is so valuable. And I thought I'd just share my own story with you about this to let you know of a little bit of an incident in my own life of this happening. Until next time, I'm Unrested. Network, stay safe, and also comment, subscribe, and like.